Just tell me something about the x-intercept. What do you know about the x-intercept?
Y is 0.
Y is 0. There you go. Tell me something about the y-intercept. X is 0. That's a hint. Go. Now go get them. One of them is really easy to get, and the other one's not so easy to get. If you have them, just point, and I'll say yes or no to you. Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that one's good. You're almost there. Yes, you got it. You're almost there. Yes, yes, yes. Good. Yep, that was, is that the x? It's actually y. Because you let, when you want the y, you let x be 0, and then you plug it in, and then you work it out. Still working on it? Okay. That's the y-intercept? Okay, you know what? You should write it like this. 1, 0, okay? Does that work? Yes, all that work. So your x-intercept is this, right? Y-intercept is this. Okay, there's another x-intercept. So let's move slowly. Okay, yes. And then you have them. You just didn't write them, but you should write them right. Yes. Yes. Where'd the minus 8? Oh, you know. Now, I'll just tell you. It's a quadratic equation. That's good. You still working on it? Okay. Here we go. Hey, you know what? I will tell you almost all the time, the easy one is the y-intercept. Watch. Watch how easy this is. You just put 0 where? In for x, y equals 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 8. Answer? Negative 8. That's out, negative 8. Almost all of you had negative 8 when I walked by. Okay, this one is typically the harder one. When you want the x-intercept, you got to let what? Y be 0. Okay, well, if you're going to let y be 0, it's going to look like this. 0 for y, x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now you do understand, you're looking at a quadratic equation, right? Quadratic equations, there's many ways to solve them. One way is factor, okay. That's the best way, by the way. I was thinking somebody would say the quadratic formula. You can do the formula. The formula will never go wrong here. As long as it's quadratic, you're okay. The problem is, it's messy, you can make mistakes, and then you'll never know what happened. So I would, if I were you, factor this. Okay. When you factor, the first thing you always look for is greatest common factor. Do they share anything? They don't share numbers. They don't share variables. No. Now you have to look and go, this is a trinomial. Now trinomials, what factors give us trinomials? Usually it's a binomial times a binomial. So you guys, you should be thinking what times what is this, okay? Well, when you FOIL, guys, foiling, first times first, must give you x squared. So what's it got to be? X times x. Last times last has to give you what? Negative 8. Here's the problem with negative 8. You could use this. You could use this, this, or this. There's 4 choices. Now, most of you picked the right one. Which one is it?
Negative 4 times negative 2.
Okay, so you're taking the bottom one? Or no, this one?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that the answer?
Because 2 added to negative 4 equals negative 2.
Okay, the two together multiplied is -8. The two together, when you add them, is -2. That's why you want these two. Not this, not this, not this, okay? So you go -4 minus, +2. And then you have your factors. But that doesn't mean you're done, because you still have to get your solutions out of this. So when will this number times this number be 0? When will this, yeah, so when will this be 0? When x is 4. When will this number be 0? When x is -2. Those are your x-intercepts, right? So you should write what? 4, 0, and -2. Good? Factor them, and you'll be okay. Now you could use the quadratic formula, but that's my last option, it really is. Remember that formula sheet we talked about? Do you know the quadratic formula? Would this come in handy, maybe down the line? Do you know it? Your answer for x will always equal what?
-b.
Okay, -b.
Plus or minus the square root of b squared plus b.
Whoa. Plus or minus square root of what?
B squared minus 4ac
Over.
2a.
I promise, you will use this year. Because, do you think you can factor everything? No, there's times when things are unfactorable. Unfactorable? Well, no, I gotta use the quadratic formula. It's okay. The problem with this is, you're gonna get a decimal. This will give you a decimal because it was unfactorable. Yeah.
I mean, you've told us so much about the quadratic formula. Where did it even originate from? It seems really complicated for the use that it serves.
It came from the standard form of a quadratic. Okay, I did this with you, John, last year. It's the standard form of a quadratic equation, and you know what it is? Complete the square. We completed the square, and we came up with this thing called the quadratic formula, which is going to give you the answer every time to a quadratic equation. So you and I did it. And then I think I played a video for you last year on the quadratic formula, why it's the way it is.
No, you didn't.
It was a silly video.
I would have remembered it.
Yeah, then I have to show you. You have to stop by after school. You'll laugh. It's funny.
Or we can all watch it.
No, because you know what? I played it last year.
I don't.
John was sleeping that day, I guess.
I don't remember any video in class.
All right. Well, then maybe I didn't play it. I don't know. I thought I did. Okay. Here we go. We have 3 slides to do today. 3. Here's the first slide for today. You are going to, you're going to do 7 or 8 problems today, and they're all kind of application problems, story problems. Your job is to read this, answer the question, and everything you do today is the same as you did yesterday, and that is you're going to write equations using slope-intercept form, using point-slope form, but it's in a story form. You got to dig the knowledge up. Okay, dig it up. Would you read that and see if you can answer it? Okay, I'm going to erase a couple things. And there's the question. What is the meaning of, what 2 things do they want you to tell them? Yeah, what's the meaning of the slope and what's the meaning of the c-intercept? Not the y-intercept, they call it the c-intercept. Now, how come? Well, when you read story problems, you know what happens? They change the letters on you because x and y, they're just kind of your standard variable. they don't always fit the story problem. So as you read this story problem, notice what they did. It says a company's cost in dollars for producing N printer cartridges can be represented by this equation. So the first thing they mention is the company's what? Cost. So this is what a normal equation looks like with x and y. Y equals mx plus b. So y has now been replaced with what letter? C for what? Cost. So this formula up here says cost equals 2.50 n. N replaced x. What's n? And yeah, printer cartridges. Okay, so the number of printer cartridges produced. Okay, so now x and y have been replaced with c and n. Okay, now come over here for a second. Would you guys just tell me what's the ordered pair look like now? It's not x comma y. What is it now? N comma c. So when you guys, you have no idea how important that is. You have to know what the ordered pairs look like. This is the first variable, n. This is the second variable, c. So it's n comma c, okay? Now, first of all, what's the meaning of the slope? Well, let's come down here. Slope is which one? 2.5. 2.5 is the slope. But that's not what I asked you. I asked you what's the meaning. So who wants to say it? Chloe, you can get it.
Should be the cost per one printer cartridge.
Okay, so use the number 2.5.
So 2.5 would be what it costs to produce one
Produce one what?
printer
Printer
cartridge.
cartridge, okay? Okay, so basically, she's saying this, cost. She says 2.5. Well, that's, now we got to think of what? Dollars. So it's costing me $2.50 per what? Per cartridge. Okay? Okay, now, how are you going to get that in your assignment today? Well, here's what I would do. Try to remember that slope is really just the difference in your y's over the difference in your what? X's. Well, which one, where's the y? It's right here. So you should be telling me on top it's cost, because that's what y was replaced with. On the bottom it's cartridges, because that's what x got replaced with, cartridges. So it's always this unit over this unit. So cost per cartridge. And every problem is the same. Every problem. The y's are on top, the unit for y's over the unit for x's. Okay? Help me with this one. Instead of calling it the y-intercept, they call it the what? C-intercept. That's because instead of y, they use what? C. So that's the C-intercept. Tell me what it means. Somebody raise your hand. Yeah, go ahead, anyone. Naomi.
That's the price of one cartridge.
That's the price of one cartridge. Now, if it's the C-intercept,
So that's where we start on the graph.
right, but the C-intercept is like the y-intercept.
Yeah.
Don't we know on the y-axis what is always 0? Isn't x always 0? And then this is the intercept, 750. What does that mean to you? We've made what? We haven't made anything. We didn't make any cartridges. It's costing us what? 750. So how did you guys say that? The C-intercept, what does it mean?
Base price.
It's the what?
Base price.
The base price. Okay? I didn't use the word base price. I used something else. Although I get what you're saying. Starting price, okay? That's base price, starting price, okay? So you can say base price, starting price. Here's what I use. I don't know if this makes any sense to you. I use the word initial cost. So the C-intercept, $750 is the what cost? The initial cost. So I don't make anything. And it still costs me $750. Why?
Life sucks.
Harry, come on now. Let's have a positive attitude. All right, why? Why does it cost me $750?
For like
Equipment, you gotta buy printing machines, supplies. How about the building you're in? If you're in a business and you're in a building, don't you have to pay what? Rent? I mean, you can't just say, I'll start my business and I'll start making money today. No. To start a business, it's expensive. This is very, very, by the way, this is probably a very cheap price to start a business.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, most businesses, they start day one. Hey, Sonic, is it Sonic?
Yes.
Feels like it's wrong. Sonic, to build that building and knock out that pavement and put that parking lot in there, they're probably already what? They're in debt by how much? $500,000. I bet they're $500,000 in debt. And they're hoping in 1 or 2 years they're probably even. And then 2 years from then, they're making big money. That's kind of how it works. You start in debt. You do. But starting a business is risky. Okay, done with that slide. You okay? Do the next. Each slide gets a little harder. Okay, this one, they do want you to, this is it. This is what they want you to do. Write an equation. Go. Okay, you got something? I'll look. Wait, skip this. H is hours. Yeah. What's Y? So this is a story time. Try use variables that make sense. I mean, Y is okay. It's just. Did you use different?
Yeah.
Yep. W for what? They use the letter. The amount A. They use A. Whatever. You're doing this right.
Oh,
This is where we're.
I skipped
We're
on
right.
accident.
Yeah, we're there.
This was
Yep. So you get it? Okay, quick. This one's not too bad at all, because I'll show you why in a second. It says here that a consultant is paid $500 for what? Traveling expenses. So if you're gonna gas up your car, we don't expect you to pay for it. So here's $500, for the month. So that's just like they give you $500 plus $75 per what? Hour. Now that sounds like a rate. And to me, a rate is really the what? It is the slope. Okay, write a linear equation that represents, now watch this guys, because this is why story problems get hard. They want you to write an equation that represents the amount A, the consultant is what? Paid. So A stands for what you get paid. Now, the second they said that, you should be thinking, Y got replaced with what letter? A. You might want to put even A sub P for amount I get paid equals M what? N. Now, why'd you pick N? Because they said for what? N hours of work. You know what I would have done? I wouldn't have put N. And they told me to, but I would have put what? I would have put H because it makes more sense to me, but I'll put N. But here you go, guys. This is the new slope intercept. That's it. So you picked out the slope to be what? What was the slope? $75 per what? Hour. You picked out what for the y-intercept? 500, right? Okay, equals the amount you get paid. Good. Why was that easy? Why could we write that equation so easy? Everything's there. Guys, look. They just did, look. Are you looking? They gave you the slope. You stuck it in. They gave you the y-intercept. You stuck it in. You're done. That's how nice that problem is. When you go to the next problem, you know why it's not nice? Because they did not give you the slope. And they are giving you points, but they're not telling you the points. They're telling you a story. You have to go in that problem. You have to dig deep and find the points. Okay? Go. I'll join you in 1 minute. Get going. Read it. Read the next one. Okay. I know some of you are probably okay. Some of you are kind of questionable, some of you are lost. But here's the deal. I'm going to tell you everything. I know students struggle with this because they don't know what to do, so watch this. Write a linear equation. Okay, that tells me y equals mx plus b. That gives the number of stores, okay, in terms of what? The year. So they want you to write an equation that gives you the number of stores JCPenney has in terms of what? Years. So when you replace y, you'll replace it with what? What was the first thing they said? So go like this. Number of stores equals mx plus b. Well, what's your x now? In terms of years. Now, what would you put for years? Well, most people will say y for years, but if you read on, it says let t equal 5 represent what year? 1985. They don't want you to put in y for years. They want you to put in what letter? T. T for what? Probably time, right? So the year you put in, this actually stands for years, and when you put in a year, you're going to get the number of stores. It's so important that you're able to do what I just did, because now you can do this. Now you should be able to tell me what your points look like. What was x replaced with? T. What was y replaced with? S. There's your point, T comma S. Now you gotta go pick out a couple points. Read the story, it's right there. The points are right in front of you. If you read that last little piece, it says, if t is equal to 5, t equal to 5 represents what year? 1985. So if somebody told me that, then that would mean if I back up from 5 to 0, t equal to 0 would be what year? 1980. Okay. So somehow, guys, you have to read the story and get 2 points out of it. Does anybody see a point or another point? Go ahead.
5, 2000.
Okay, he says 5, comma, 2000. Yeah? It says right here, 1985, there's 2,000 stores. Oh, 85, that's let T be 5. And how many stores? 2,000. got 1 point, get another point. You got it? You got another one? 2012 was 1,100 stores. 32. Okay. He says 32, comma what? 1,100. Okay. Would you agree with his 32?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the year 0, 1980. Well, the year 2012 is how many years after this year? 32 years. This should be 32, right? This 2012 is 32 years after 1980. He got that value right. Good. Well, you have a point. You have a point. Can you use point slope form? You don't have the slope, guys. How do you get the slope?
1 and 2 is.
Yeah, slope formula. Go get it. Everybody go get the slope right now. And if you can get the slope, keep going. Write the equation. I did it. I got 900 over negative 27. But can you reduce that?
100 over negative.
What?
100 over negative 3.
Yeah, 9 goes into both of them, right? 100 times and negative 3. Does it make sense that the slope would be negative?
Yeah.
Why?
It's decline.
The stores are decreasing. They're shutting them down, guys. The slope should be negative. If you have a positive slope, that means there's more and more stores every year. That's not the case. The stores are shutting down. Okay. Now, you've got slope. You've got 2 points. Can you write the equation?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Pick a point you want to work with. You don't need both. Just pick one. What would you like?
5.
Okay. There you go. That's the one you chose, Hunter. I'll use it too. Here we go. I'm using point slope. Y minus. Put my slope in. X minus.
Are we going to use T and S?
Yeah. Oh, good job. I have been caught 3 periods in a row on that. Good job. Instead of Y, we're using what? S. Okay. S. And instead of X, we're using T. Okay. Here I go. I'll put my numbers in. 5 for T. 2,000 for X. Okay. Good. How would you solve that equation? What would you do? Now remember, we're trying to put it in slope-intercept form. Solve for S. Gavin, what's the first thing you'd do?
Factor, or we'd get 100 over negative 3T.
Okay, so you're telling me to distribute through?
Distribute.
Okay, here's the deal. I don't like to distribute by fractions if I can help it. So you know what I want to do? I want to get rid of that 3 on the bottom. I'm going to multiply both sides by a number that will get rid of the 3. What's the number?
3.
3, exactly. If I multiply this by 3 and this side by 3, I mean, this will give me 3s. This will give me negative 6,000. This 3 cancels with this 3, right? Uh-oh. Now I got a slight problem. This is not 100. What is it?
-1.
It's negative 100. I should have multiplied by -3. I didn't do it. But let me just stick that negative up here. Okay, get rid of this. Negative 100 times this. Negative 100t. Negative 100 times this. 500. It would have been a little nicer if I would have just multiplied by -3, but I didn't do it. Okay. Next, solve for S. It's like saying solve for Y, solve for S. Move the 6,000 over. How?
Add 6.
So if you add 6,000, you get 6,500, right? 3S equals negative 100t. Now what? Divide by 3. Negative 100t. Hey, look, that was the same slope I had to begin with. Divide by 3 here. You can change that to a number, but that number is going to be a decimal, or you can just leave it right now. It doesn't matter. You can go ahead and change it, or just leave it like this. And that's the answer on the test. Would it have mattered if I would have picked the other point? No. This would be the same answer, okay? Now there's one more thing you have to do. It says right here, predict. Predict the number of stores that JCPenney's will have in the year 2020. You have a nice looking equation. What are you going to do? The year 2020? Are you going to stick 2020 into your equation? No. The year, we said, that's T. It's 40. Yep. 2020 is year 40. It's 40 years after 1980. So you must put that right about here. Okay, like this. Over 3 plus this. And then say that's how many stores JCPenney's will have. That was,
Can you plug it in?
you don't get a whole number for the store. You get a decimal, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got, what do you get? 800
833 and a third.
and a third.
Repeat.
Well, I would just round to the nearest store.
Okay.
So what are you gonna call it?
800.
Yeah. So we are predicting. I mean, this is not exact. It's our equation kind of just predicting the year 2020, JCPenney stores, 833. That's if that trend continues. Do the trends tend to kind of do this? Yeah, I mean, they might close a lot of stores, nothing for a long time, close more, you know.
Really dead.
Yeah, well, JCPenney's is an anchor store to us, right? So,
Is it?
yeah, it's one of our anchors out at Columbia Mall, but chance they close down is what? High, low? What do you think?
I don't know, I don't use that store.
You don't use that store? You better start using
I
that
don't
store.
live in this town, so.
We need that store. We need it. The big stores. Okay, you guys, you have like 8 problems to do. 120 to 134. 2n. 2n means what?
By 2.
Yeah. Every even problem. Okay. So would you do me a favor? Let's all do the same problem right now.
No.
128. We have about 8 minutes, and I don't think we can finish in 8 minutes, but it is the same problem we just did, just different numbers. So if you can hustle, we'll get one done out of the 7 or 8 we have to do. In groups, I think I just work with your group, but don't worry about it.
What? Can I have John do all the work for me?
You're on your own.
Oh, it's being out there.
It is practically the same problem. I just want to see if you can get
Was it 120?
128. Let's Let's just all stay on the same problem, is all I meant.
Yeah, no, he was just asking. I'll check.
So here's what the problem said. If t is 3, we're in the year 2003. So would you please back up to 0? If t is 0, what year is it? 2000, okay. So would you give me a couple points now?
2003, 1078.
Okay.
And 2007, 1006. Wait, 1067.
67, thank you. You guys, she said 2003. Naomi said 2003. Do I want to put that in there? Yeah, just put in 3. And then 2007 is 7. Okay? So there's your 2 points coming out of that problem. Go find the slope. Okay? Did you get that or not? I got a slope of negative 11/4. So you do know that this just means negative 2.75, right? Does that even make sense to you that it would be negative?
Yeah.
Because the stores are closing, 10.78 down to 10.67, that's going downhill. It should be negative. What does that even mean to you? I know it's a slope, but tell me what it means.
Decrease in stores.
What?
Decrease in stores.
How many stores are we losing?
2 a year.
2.75 per year. That's what the slope means. Okay. Now, write the equation. Well, do you have a point? Do you have a slope? Sure you do. Here's your slope. Pick a point you want to work with. Top one? Okay. There we go. Let's do it. Y minus 10.78 equals the slope. X minus 3. Right? There you go. Work it out.
Mr. Fair, can I just go now then?
Yeah, I didn't even. I was going to try to give you the answer to this. But, okay.
Oh, so do you
Hey guys, if you don't want to multiply it by a fraction, you can just multiply by 4 and 4 to knock out the 4s. Multiply and multiply. Oh, I can't do that one in my head. 4,000 something. 4,312. Okay. So now you have to solve it for y, and I already messed up because I was supposed to use s's and t's. This is supposed to be s. When you solve it, it's s equals. I don't want to show all the work. I just want to tell you the answer. S equals. I believe it's negative 11 fourths times t. I don't know the y-intercept. It is, you're right, it is this. And it's positive, right?
Yep.
So that's it. That's the equation I'm looking for on the test. But one thing, they do ask you to predict what year?
2012 and 2014.
Okay, and if you were doing to do 2012 and 2014, what are you plugging in for T?
12.
Yeah, plug in a 12 and a 14. I don't know the answers. If somebody says the answer, I'll tell you.
1053.25.
Yep, that's 2012, right?
Yeah.
1053. Hannah, I don't know if I'd say 0.25 stores. I just rounded. I just say, I would just say 1,053. The other answer is 1,040.
You can absolutely have one store.
You can have half a store up, I suppose.
Part of it's closed down. You can do that.
That's true. That's true.
So the part of it's owned by a church or because they own the camera. And it's like, well, where's my pocket? Is there any belts?
All right, good luck. There are 7 more to do, I think. Story time. Some are easy, and some are more difficult.
Oh,
But it's next to that.
I lose the pressing on they bought the whole mall, except for the Kmart itself. The rest of the mall is they bought. All those stores in there rent are renting the place from the church. It's not church, from the business.
Well,
Why are you this fast? Because we don't have to rush to another class.
I don't do the day.
Oh, well, you still have to rush the band.
I thought you were trying to avoid
Are you doing class tomorrow?
No, I'm just going to do homework.
Oh, okay. I'm so confused.
No.
I was like, you told me that you did not have class. You know where he is? He's just out. Yeah, I need help.
Same. Are you in free help?
No. Oh my gosh, I would understand why you need help. I'm just actually too. But you know.
Free help is so hard.
No, I missed yesterday. And I was like, I'm so confused. And it's like, I have all these papers. I have a quiz tomorrow. And I am just a mess. Like,
Oh, no.
like, it was just
Do you have free period right now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
So it's like, it's so
Yeah, I know.
yes, I'm so like, she gave me like all these assignments and I'm like,
Wait, do you have a girl or a boy?
I have a Miss Schmidt.
She teaches in here?
No. She teaches in the other room. Like the morning, but I came to him because her sister is getting married, so she left early, and I just really need help.
I have a question.
Give me a second. I gotta go talk to Mrs. Schmidt. I think she's here.
She's here?
I think. I don't
Okay,
know.
ask her. Yeah. If so, then you can help, I can help. No problem.
Perfect.
That's four, because 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Is she here?
She is there.
Okay, so I can go ask her.
You can ask her or whatever. I mean, you can ask me too.
Well, she has pre-cal, because I have algebra too,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit too much.
I don't understand. Okay, I understand it, but I just can't understand 3.
That's your point, and that's your slope. Write the equation of line going through that point with a slope of 5.
Thank you, though, Mr.
Yep, you bet. So then we and then x minus is plus, right? And then 5. Okay. Yep, that's good. That's good.
Then, like,
And let's
how do
add that to this 27.3. Good. That's good.
Okay, yeah, that I got that, but I don't get the graphing part
Okay. Well.
because it has to go through this point.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to
Well,
do that?
Okay.
And then go up
First of
5.
all, the intercept is positive 27. So what are you going by? Well, wow.
Because it's 5.1.
I know, but this is. Does it say sketch? Yeah, it says sketch. Sketch means perfect. But here's what I would do. Because it's 27, right? I would say I'm going by 3s. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12. You know what I'm saying? So then was it 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. You're at 27.3.
And then just
Well, then you got a slope of 5, right? Okay. So if you're gonna do that, and you can go by ones over here, that's fine. So if you go, up 5, you don't wanna go up 5, but you can. Here's 30, here's 33. You're at 27, right? Point something? So up 5 would be 32, something?
Yeah.
And that would be it, but I mean, you eventually will get to this point. Now this point is left what? Yeah, so the point is negative 5.1, right?
And
One.
128.
And 1.8? Okay, this is 3. So you're really gonna be right.
Oh.
You're really gonna be like right about here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, what I would do is just go like this. And I would just go right through. I mean, the next point below this would be, let's go down, not up 5, let's go down 5. So you'd be down to 22, which this is 21, so 22 be here, and then back up 1. That's the next one. I wouldn't want it. I just want an estimate. If you say by 3s, I just go, oh, 3 is okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and she's a little above it. Oh, she got 27 something. And then I'd go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then she's right about there. It is harder to do without graph paper. So if you want graph paper, it's up there.
Same with number 73. I didn't. So I got my slope,
To be that.
and then I think it would say sketch the line. I don't know.
This one?
Yeah, but it has to go through this point.
Yeah.
This point, or just.
Well, I mean, these are just pretty much sketches, so you don't, like I said, you don't have to be like dead on. This one's not too bad because your numbers are, what was the point?
1 and 0.6.
0.06?
Yeah.
Or
No,
0.6?
0.6.
So 1 comma, here we go, 1.6 is here.
And
Right.
then -2 and -0.6.
-2 and -0.6 here, right? And to sketch the graph, I mean, your slope is what?
-9.
So then the slope should go down. Did we do the slope right? Okay, that. Oh, no, look. Negative and negative.
No, it's because this one's negative, not positive, so -0.6.
Minus 0.6. So it's negative 0.6 and another negative 0.6, which would be,
No, it's a -0.6 and a positive.
right, but the formula says y2 minus y1. So what,
yeah, y2,
okay, give me,
0.6
okay, you want negative 0.6 first?
minus
Subtract
0.6,
0.6.
and that's what I have.
How did you get 5.4?
I don't know. I put it in my calculator.
So watch this. You know what 0.6 is? It's like 60 cents. Like if I put a 0 behind it, so I lose 60 cents and I lose 60 cents.
So
I didn't lose $5 before. You know what I mean?
wait, it's, see watch, 0.6 minus 0.6. Oh, what?
Mm-hmm. About 20. You lost $1.20. And then it's over what? 3 or something?
-3.
-3. Okay. So
So that's what
so negative over negative is a positive, right?
yeah. Divided by 3.
Yeah.
Oh, divided by -2, so it'd be 0.4.
Why? Oh yeah, 0.4. You're right. 0.4. 40 cents.
Okay, so all of this is
Okay. So now if I did it, you know what this means? A slope of 0.4?
no. Oh, 4 out of over 10, which is
Yeah, it's 4
2/5.
tenths. It's 4 tenths,
2/5.
which is 2/5. Okay, so now it might be easier for you to do it. So here I am, right there.
This one would be, oh wait, let me get the that one.
Which one?
I like it 9/5. Oh, because it was, so it would be minus
Oh, you're saying because you used the wrong slope.
So then,
So then it would be, so 0.2, yeah, and that makes sense, because look at this. Because right here, when you connect those 2 points, you're up about 0.2. You're right.
so how do I?
But now to graph it, I mean, you know the slope is what? But you called it 2/5, so watch this. Let's go up 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5. Or I could keep going. I can go down 1, 2, left 5.
How do you do that?
Do what?
So it has to go through these points?
Well, those points are on your line, so yeah, it has to go through those points. But these, like I'm trying to tell you. I mean, like if I did a slope of 2/5 with that point that I drew. So at this point, I sketched it, and then I go up 1, up 2, over 5, 3, 4, 5. I'm not quite on the line, you know. That's because I'm sketching. You know, it's not perfect, but I mean, I mean, I can see if you're in the right spot and moving at the right rate. Yeah, you can go up 2 right 5, or you can go down 2 left 5. How's this assignment going for you? Good? Okay. You're on 73?
Yeah. I gotta do these ones.
Oh, you still have to finish this yesterday?
Yeah. 78. Oh, 1,000. I hate when it's like point.
I do too.
So you have to find the slope first.
If you don't have the slope, you gotta find it.
Yeah.
Because you know, when I gave you guys that point slope, you know, I said you gotta know slope and you gotta know point. You know points, you just slope.
Yeah. So.
That's kind of the worst problem I can give you, because I didn't give you the slope. And again, that one has decimals, and you seem to hate decimals.
And this is not a thing. Oh,
Yeah.
but this one has no slope.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, because that would be 0.
Yes, you're right. So that's a dead giveaway. What kind of line is it? Vertical. Yeah, it's vertical. So once you say this to yourself, no slope, you should say, oh, this is vertical. Now, every vertical line has the same equation.
Y equals? No, X equals 0.
Well, it depends. Look at your x value in each point.
Okay, so then do I have to do like Y minus?
No, just look at your x value. What is it?
On which one?
1.5 in the first.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, guess what? The equation is x equals. Done.
How do you know that?
Well, because I know it's vertical.
So what happens if these were 2 different numbers?
There won't be if it's vertical. They
There
won't.
won't be?
Yeah, think about it. The number on the bottom is x minus x. The only way you can get 0 on the bottom is if they're exactly the same number.
Oh, okay.
So now, when they said 1.5, right,
Yeah, that's right here.
and -2, it's right here, right? Right there.
-2.
Right here. 1.5, -2. 1.5, 0.2. It's right here.
Me too.
Don't you have to graph them?
I mean, but you're still making straight lines. So you're
No, what I'm trying to show you is when I draw this
Oh.
line, it's vertical. And vertical to me, all it means is x. Every x value is exactly the same. What's every x value? So that's like almost a freebie. I know it's vertical, it's gotta be x equals. And where did it cross the x-axis? At 1.
3, whoa. What does it say L1, L2?
That must mean line 1 and line 2. They're giving you points on line 1 and points on line 2. Determine whether the lines
Are passing through the 1 and 2 are passing through the point. Where is it perpendicular to the center?
Oh,
So just graph it?
no, they're just asking you, is line 1 and line 2 parallel? Are they perpendicular or are they even?
I don't know.
Well, remember, this is how I started today. I said parallel lines have what?
Oh, the same slope.
M1, M2. Slope on the first line, slope on the second line, equal. What if they're perpendicular?
Opposite reciprocal.
Okay, so if this is the slope, the other slope will be negative.
And
This is M1 over
1 over M1.
So basically, if you find the slope to be 2/3 on this one, on the other one it has to be.
-3.
Yeah. Now, if this doesn't work, they're not opposite reciprocals and they're not the same, then it's
Neither.
neither. Because here, look, would you call this parallel? No. Would you call this perpendicular? Perpendicular means
Oh, no.
they form 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's not a 90.
Okay.
And you don't have to determine if it's 90. You just have to say, well, they're not opposite reciprocals and they're not the same. Oh,
No, neither.
it's just two diagonal lines.
So you're pretty much just finding the slope of both.
Yeah, you just find yourself on both and you just say parallel, or you say perpendicular, or you say neither. Yeah, that's all you say. All right. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want graph paper, it looks like. Okay. You're 4. You're
5.
You're 5.
Wait,
You just can't get this down.
do you know this thing you're asking? You're asking me.
Halverson.
No.
No, you're not Halverson. Halverson sits here, but that must be your 4.
Yeah, you're 5. It's like Davey, Will.
Oh, Will sits next to you, you poor thing. Oh boy. You're not Grace.
Yeah.
You're Grace.
Grace.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You said it.
Goss?
Gosted.
Gossted?
Gosted.
Oh, I was gonna say Gosland. Gossted.
Gosted, yeah.
Gosh.
So this would be perpendicular?
You are correct. If you did graph them, you could almost see that they're perpendicular. But you know, the thing is, you wouldn't know if it's exactly 90.
Yeah.
That's why you have to calculate the slope.
Okay.
Okay? That's all you gotta do. You're done.
Okay. This is all the way up to 103? Or?
I don't know.
Oh, I know. 88 is a different problem now.
Yeah, that was probably just a quick hitter, just tell me.
I just opened so far.
Through the given point. So they want you to write an equation through this point. Okay?
88.
Okay, but
Oh,
okay,
okay.
okay, you're right. This
Y equals.
right. Given the point. Given the point A parallel to the given line.
Oh, and
So
perpendicular.
it's gotta be going through this point and it's gotta be parallel to this line. Then when you do it again, then do it perpendicular to this given
So
line.
you just plug them in? No, what do you do?
No, this is how I started class. I said, if you are given a point on your line, and you're told a line goes through it, but it's parallel to this line, then you should know the slope of your line is the same. So
How
just
do you find
figure out the slope.
slope?
Well, is it in slope intercept form? No.
So,
Solve it for y.
Then do I just put M instead of the slope?
I'm looking. Okay, you're solving this one for y, right?
Mhm.
So
So just Y equals
What?
negative X plus 7?
yes. Okay, now you know the slope of this line. Okay. -1. And you know your line is going to go through this point and is parallel to this line.
So A would be.
Well, you can't write slope intercept form. You have to put it in point slope,
Okay, yeah.
then convert it over to
So y minus 2
Mhm.
equals -1 times x. Or minus negative.
It's always x minus whatever the x is.
Negative, yeah.
So it ends up being +3.
Yeah, minus 2 is negative x minus 3. So what's that?
Yes.
Okay, then so the same thing, but just the opposite reciprocal.
Yeah.
So,
So it's basically the same setup, but you have a different slope.
but if it's -1, it's gonna be just plain 1.
Because 1, if you flip 1, you get 1, and negative becomes positive, so it's 1. So the slope of 1 and the slope of -1, that's perpendicular.
X.
And you can check them, of course, in the back. Ooh, that is it.
Negative x and positive x.
Oh, okay. Well, wait, can you check this one? No, 88.
This is A.
Yeah, but 88 is even, you can't check. You can check 83, you just can't check the evens. But the next one's odd, and I think you can check it.
So if there's no y, then I just have x equals 4.
Is that all you have?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean?
Horizontal.
Vertical. Yep.
Oh, I thought it was y equals.
No, y equals a number is horizontal.
Horizontal, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find the.
Whoa, I forgot to shut this off.